He always thought the strangest mornings were the ones that followed his quiet nights, the ones where nothing extraordinary happened. But he was wrong. The strangest morning of his life arrived without warning, without explanation, and without the slightest hint of what it was about to change forever. Because when he opened his tired eyes that day, still half dreaming in the dim gray light of dawn, he saw something he absolutely wasn't prepared for. At the foot of his bed, wrapped in his oversized navy blue shirt, stood a woman he barely recognized, hair tousled, eyes wide, breath uneven, and trembling like she was holding a truth too heavy for her chest. For a second, he wondered if he was still dreaming. Single fatherhood had exhausted him to the point that hallucinations didn't feel impossible anymore. But the soft shuffle of her bare feet on his worn wooden floor, the faint citrus scent drifting from his shirt, and the fear, real, raw fear, in her eyes told him this moment was painfully real. She wasn't a dream, she wasn't a mistake, and she definitely wasn't here by accident. She wrapped her arms around herself, gripping the fabric like she was afraid it might vanish. "We need to talk," she whispered. But her voice cracked on the last word, and suddenly she looked like someone who hadn't slept in days. Someone whose world had collapsed long before she stepped into his. He sat up slowly, careful not to wake his sleeping daughter curled against his side. His first instinct was to protect her, shield her from anything unfamiliar. But the woman in his shirt raised both hands gently, her expression softening as she looked at the child. In that moment, something unspoken passed between them, something that made him hesitate before demanding answers. She took one shaky breath. "I'm not here to hurt you," she said quietly. "I'm here because last night, something happened. Something you deserve to know." His heartbeat stumbled. His memories from the night before were fractured. Flashes of rain, a knock at the door, a voice he recognized but couldn't place. He had opened the door while holding his daughter, half asleep, only to find her standing there drenched, shivering, and begging him not to send her away. He'd let her inside because he wasn't the kind of man who turned away someone crying in the rain. But after that, everything blurred into darkness. He gently shifted his daughter to the side, tucked her under the blanket, and stood. The woman stepped back, unsure, almost timid. "Before you say anything," she whispered, "please hear all of it. I know I owe you that." He crossed his arms, jaw tight. "Start talking." She stared at the floor, gathering courage like it was something she'd forgotten how to carry. "My name is Neha," she began softly. "You don't remember me, but I remember you. More than you know." That sentence alone hit him like a punch. He didn't know her, at least not in any way that made sense. But the way she spoke, the way her voice softened on his name, the way she kept glancing at the little girl sleeping on his bed, like she had spent years memorizing her, made something uneasy stir in his chest. Neha continued, forcing each word past the lump in her throat. "Last night, I didn't come here because I was lost. I didn't come because of the rain. I came because I couldn't keep the truth buried any longer. Not after everything that's happened. Not after what I found out." He stepped closer. "What truth?" Her eyes filled, not with fear now, but with the kind of sorrow that only comes from carrying a secret far too long. "5 years ago," she whispered, "before your daughter was born, your wife came to see me." The mention of his late wife froze him where he stood. It had been 3 years since she passed, leaving him to raise their daughter alone. Every memory of her was a wound he'd learned to live with, but still a wound. Neha wrung her hands. "She came to me because she knew she didn't have much time. She asked me to promise her something. To watch over you, to make sure your daughter would grow up safe, to protect your family in all the ways she wouldn't be able to." He felt the floor beneath him tilt. Pain replaced confusion, confusion replaced anger, and then anger threatened to replace everything. "You expect me to believe that?" She shook her head slowly. "No, I expect you to feel it. Because last night, someone came looking for your daughter. Someone who shouldn't even know she exists. Someone connected to the very thing your wife tried to shield you from." The room suddenly felt too small. The air too thin. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying," she whispered, "that your wife knew she was being hunted. And she wasn't the only target. You were too." The words hit him like a blow to the ribs. He gripped the back of a chair to steady himself. His wife had never told him anything like this, never hinted at shadows chasing her. She'd died of an illness, not violence. At least that was what he had believed. Neha stepped forward, voice trembling with urgency. I didn't come here to open old wounds. I came because the people who were after her, they resurfaced. And last night, they followed me here. They think I know where the truth is hidden. His breath hitched sharply. What truth? Neha lifted her chin ever so slightly, courage forcing its way past fear. Your wife wasn't sick, she was poisoned. His vision blurred, his pulse roared, his knees nearly buckled. That's why she came to me, Neha continued, words breaking into a whisper. She had documents, evidence, names. She didn't trust anyone else. She begged me to disappear, to hide, to wait until the danger shifted to me. And last week, it did. He swallowed hard, voice straining. Why come to me now? Neha finally met his eyes, and in them he saw devastation and devotion. Because when your daughter was born, before your wife died, she wrote you a letter. A letter she asked me to protect until the day you were strong enough to hear the truth. His heart tore open. Where is it? Neha placed a hand over the shirt she was wearing, his shirt, where something crackled softly against the fabric. A small sealed envelope was hidden in the pocket. I read it, she admitted, tears sliding down her cheeks. And it changed everything, because she didn't just talk about danger. She talked about love, about you, about what she wanted for your daughter. And about something else, something I never expected. He approached her slowly as if each step carried the weight of a lifetime. The envelope trembled in her hand as she extended it. She wrote, Neha whispered, that if anything ever happened to her, she wanted you to have someone who would stay. Someone who would protect you. Someone who knew her truth and would carry it with you. His chest tightened painfully. Why you? Her voice broke completely. Because I wasn't just someone she trusted. I was the woman she hoped you would someday trust too. Silence devoured the room. Rain pattered against the window. His daughter shifted gently in her sleep, unaware of the earthquake unraveling around her. He didn't know what to think, what to feel, or what to believe. But he couldn't ignore the sincerity in Neha's trembling hands, or the way she watched his daughter with a tenderness that didn't feel forced or new. It felt like something she had carried quietly for years. Before he could respond, there was a sudden bang outside, a car door, sharp and urgent. Neha's face drained of color. They found us, she breathed. His instincts surged. He grabbed her wrist, shielding her and his child with a ferocity he didn't know he still possessed. You stay with me, he commanded. No one touches my family. The word family made her flinch, not in fear, but in a way that suggested it meant more to her than she'd ever expected to feel. What followed was chaos. Shouting outside, footsteps in the hallway, his racing heartbeat drowning every sound. But through it all, he kept Neha close, kept his daughter safe, and refused to let fear dictate the fate of the people he now realized he couldn't lose. By sunrise, the danger was gone. The men who came for the truth were taken away in police cars. The storm outside died with the storm inside. And when the light touched Neha's face, revealing exhaustion and relief mingled into one expression, he finally spoke the words he hadn't had the courage to say. You're not leaving. Not after this. Not after everything she trusted you with. Neha blinked, breath trembling. Are you sure? He nodded slowly, deeply, painfully honest. I don't know what happens next. But I know one thing. You're part of this story now. My wife chose you for a reason. And I'm starting to understand why. Her tears spilled freely as she whispered, then give me one chance. Just one. To protect what she loved. To protect what I've grown to love too. He held her gaze, feeling something shift in his chest, something terrifying and hopeful all at once. And as his daughter stirred softly behind him, as the morning sun warmed the room, as the truth settled into the spaces where silence once lived, he realized something he never expected. The woman wearing his shirt wasn't a mistake. She was the beginning of everything he didn't know he needed. And the hook that opened his morning became the hook that rewrote his entire life.